Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Zach,
And this your boy DC.
and we have Asha De Andrea on the podcast. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing
Asha,
great.
what's up?
Thank you so much for coming on. On this podcast, we talk to artists, producers, and industry professionals, and you are an artist and an industry professional. So you're doing your own project, I hear, and you work heavily in a label as well. So we're going to get into that. But before, just tell us a little bit about how you got into music and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I kind of, when I was a kid, I used to always just love to sing. It was like my favorite thing. I'd just kind of go out. We did a lot of camping. We're always kind of outdoors. And I was just always singing. And I always just knew I really wanted to be a singer. But then kind of growing up, my mom definitely did not want me in the music industry anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So she definitely with me she's kind of a hippie. So she was like, I kind of want you to do like coaching and this. And the rest of my family is very like straight edge. So they're like, yeah, I'm more like vet and I love animals. So I was like, I'll try to be a vet. So I went to school and it just wasn't really aligned. Like I love animals, but I don't think I want to like watch them sick. You know what I mean? And that, and it just kind of, I went for a couple of years and I was like, I don't think this is it. So I ended up traveling for a couple of years because I think that's the best way to find yourself is to travel and really
Where did you go?
I went to Europe when I was pretty young, like 14 for
Oh,
a summer.
wow.
Yeah, and it was really fun. Like that was a great experience. And then when I turned, well, I was 20, 20 and 21. So after I went to college a little bit and decided that was not the right path, I went to Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Asia, like that whole kind of
Wow.
thing over there. Yeah. So it
That's,
was really
that's
good.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience. I think traveling like gives you so much life experience and really lets you figure out like who you are and like what you really want to do, like meeting a bunch of different people and cultures and yeah. So yeah, and then it was finally I did a bunch of coaching and stuff over there, like Tony Robbins, all those kind of life coaching stuff.
Did
And
you go to like one of Tony Robbins' seminars type things?
yeah, so the cool thing about it is I went to his seminar first. It's called UPW, and that's kind of what led me to go traveling and stuff because it was like you need to just, you know what I mean? I don't know. It like led me to the whole thing, and then I ended up doing his other stuff, Date with Destiny and Wealth and Life Mastery, which is in Fiji, and then Date with Destiny was in Australia. So it was
Nice.
really cool, yeah. And I feel like I met a lot of like really cool, like-minded people doing that too. But yeah, but coaching wasn't my thing. I like it and I want to incorporate it into my music, which is gonna be kind of cool. But yeah, it was kind of then it's like you need to go for music and like really just go for it. That's your passion, it's your dream, it's what makes you happy. So I came back here, started really networking with a lot of music people, and ended up buying my own record label. So that's how I'm like, I own my own record label. That was about a year and a half ago. Yeah, so now I have my first single coming out or in July, so this month, music video, and it's just been amazing. It's been incredible. Like I finally feel like I'm really going towards my passion and my and my dreams. So it's good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So for your project specifically, what is like your vision on that?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting. I'm trying to do two different projects kind of, which it's we'll see how that goes. But I always thought, growing up, like I wanted to be a pop singer and kind of do that whole thing you see in Hollywood, and you know what I mean. And then coming to it, like I used to go to a lot of EDM shows, and actually the person that I ended up buying the record label from, he loves EDM shows. He knows all about EDM. It was mostly an EDM record label. So now I'm thinking more towards that way, and the songs that I've kind of like, it kind of takes a while for an artist to figure out what genre they're going to be in and just kind of what their voice sounds the best on. And yeah, it's been actually like trap EDM songs now. And I feel like going EDM, you have a lot more freedom because if you're like a pop singer, you have to be on stage singing the whole time and like, get like choreography and everything. And I love singing, but doing like a DJ and producing, not only can I produce my own music, but also I can sing the songs I want to. I can remix them with my voice. I can do like cool vocal things with my voice, and it's just like less pressure, and I have more control over my whole set. So I think that's pretty cool. So I'm more leaning towards that now, and that's just kind of how my voice works too. And definitely I also have a big vision of like influence. I think influence is really important, and that was a big thing with like coaching. It's like to influence people, but more with music because the music industry is so influential. I think it's probably the most influential industry ever. So if I can influence, younger girls with a good message, most of my songs have like positive messages, especially during this time. Like we've been writing some songs and they're all about kind of what's going on, and you know what I mean, just like everyone's kind of in a lot of fear. So if I can help people feel better or feel something with it, with influence, like yeah, that's very important to me. So
Very cool. Very cool. It sounds like you have a lot going on with that project, and you're talking about you want to move into the EDM realm, so you don't have to like sing the whole time. So is like DJing something you want to incorporate into your sets? Like you sometimes do mostly DJ sets, and then your vocals would already be in there. Or would you do like a Bonnie and Clyde type thing where you would also sing on top of your tracks?
yeah, so yeah, I think it's super creative like that same way. I love DJing, but I think it'd be fun to have another DJ kind of like Bonnie and Clyde. So I
Mm-hmm.
can just kind of go out and sing and kind of, hype the crowd up and also recreate my songs on set. So you just like add different stuff or you mix it differently and start looping it. And I've always wanted to actually like create a song while I'm doing a set. So I'm like, have the bass beat and then I start singing to it and like looping my vocals and stuff like actually live. So that's kind of the
Wow.
end goal.
That's hot. That's hot. Yeah. And I mean, that's a whole nother level of talent too. Like, you know what I mean? You're not just someone just out there behind a mic or just someone like scratching. That's dope. I can't wait to see that.
Thank you. I think it'll be fun, and I kind of hear it in my head too, like how it would sound good, and then I feel like I don't know, it's like interactive. So yeah, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a bunch of like there's a lot of live DJs that are coming out now too, like doing like the drum pads and stuff
Oh
and
yeah,
live loops like that. You should probably like
Hmm.
find someone like that too that knows how to do that. That'd be really cool.
yeah, for sure. I'm huge on like getting mentors with things, like finding
Hmm.
someone like you're saying who's like already doing what you want to do. Because like big thing I learned from Tony Robbins is like proximity is power. So if you put yourself around people who are already doing what you want to do or already where you want to be, like you'll just naturally start
Hmm.
doing and like go up to them. So yeah, definitely. Like I think that's another huge thing I'm really excited about is just networking with so many different music people. Everyone's just so creative, and has their own thing that they're doing that you can learn from. Like you can learn from everybody.
So
Yeah, your circle is everything. You are. I mean, if you look around at your circle and they're not doing anything, then you're pretty much going to be that same. Like you're just going to be stuck in that cycle. So that's really really good. That's good advice from Tony Robbins. That's one of the things I picked up from him a lot too.
Oh yeah.
Is he talks about that a lot. Yeah.
Are you a fan of him as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Very dope. What you guys at?
so you're talking about networking a little bit too. So what type of things have you done so far that you have started to realize that has worked in the music industry for networking, and some advice for other, producers, artists, and other people that want to get into music that will help them with networking? Because there's a lot of people that are, sending off like messages and Instagram and being like, hey, look at my song, download it, yada, yada. Is that the best way, or is there better ways?
So I'm a big fan of like giving. So I always think like, you know, also a big thing with networking, especially with people in the music industry, when you go to networking events, like you can always learn something from somebody. So kind of just going into it with an open mind and really getting to know them first and seeing what they're about and like what they do, because then you'll intuitively kind of know like how you could benefit, you could guys can benefit each other in that aspect, instead of just being like, oh, like listen to my music, like figuring out what do they do, because a lot of times instead of them just listening to your music and being like another fan or something, they might actually have something way bigger that could have helped a lot more so I always try to like get to know the person I'm talking to and really figure out what they do exactly, and then figure out how we can help each other. And usually, people are brought into your life or into your energy, I'd say, because you can help each other for some certain things. So I kind of make it a game, like what do they do, like, you know what I mean, really get to know what they do and everything, and then figure out like how we can help each other and stuff. And then, yeah, it kind of just like naturally flows at that point, I'd say.
Awesome. So are these like specific network events you go to, and like where can people find these?
Um, this is mostly just when I go to like shows and stuff like that, I'd say. There's not a lot of networking stuff going on, particularly right now. I also think if we're talking about social media, like LinkedIn's amazing. I think it's way underrated, but it's all about business. So a lot of times with Facebook, that's really personal. Like Instagram, it's just kind of about likes and followers, and it's kind of, about fan base. But LinkedIn is like where it's really about business. So like really learning LinkedIn is huge. Like you can find investors, sponsors, record labels, everything. And
Really?
once you just like, about like you're about music, like what you like, you'll automatically get connected with those same people. And then just kind of like researching, because they all like either own a company or work for a company, and like researching what they do, and then like creating a message and sending it to them like, hey, like nice to meet you, like, I see you do this, this, and this, like this is what I do. I'd love to connect with you and see if we can help in any way. And if you send off, 50 messages, like you're probably going to get like 10 good responses and 10 really good connections. So LinkedIn's the best, I think, for like right now, because it's all like internet, networking pretty much. Yeah. So I love LinkedIn though. It's way underrated, I'd say.
So it's all a
No,
numbers game.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, but at the same time, it's an art. And the reason why I say art to networking is because, and this is probably from Tony Robbins or a couple other motivational speakers that I listen to, is I think you hit something dead on the head, where it's about what you can give someone versus them what you're trying to receive back. And it's the art of trying to let them know, like, hey, I'm here to help you. What can I do for you? What are you working on? What projects are you working on? And you have more value for yourself when you take that approach versus, hey, here's my music. Here, download this, download that.
Yeah.
It's less spammy.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. And then you've actually made genuine connections with them too. You know what I mean? And also it's when you're just kind of like giving stuff, like people sometimes are like, like they don't, especially if they're higher in the music industry, like they don't really want to deal with that. But if you're, consider yourself, if you're like a rapper or just an artist, if you consider yourself a business, because you really are with the whole company, so you have to see yourself as that in a whole brand, So like if you talk about it like that and everything, like your project you're doing, it's just kind of on a higher level too, like it's like more respect, I feel like too, like in a good way.
Yeah. I agree. So what, I know we're just talking about projects. Can you elaborate on the project that you're working on right now?
My personal project?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so the Asha De Andrea is going to be under, so my record label is called Papillon Pavilion, and it's a butterfly pavilion. So it's all about butterflies, about, he originally had made it because the butterflies you get in your stomach when you hear like a really good song you like, or butterflies before you go perform and that. And I take it a little bit different. I take it like you grow and evolve into a butterfly. Like you start as like a caterpillar, and then, you grow, and people are like that. It's funny, like the saying people don't change. Like that's really funny to me, because life is about change. Like we grow, we get old, we have our beliefs, we get, we change our beliefs, we create more empowering beliefs, we become, we gain more knowledge, and it's all about that. And then, you finally see, you're always a beautiful butterfly, but then eventually you see it, and especially being an artist and just like creating that. So yeah, it's all about that. So Asha De Andrea is going to be a project under that, that's the EDM more side. And like my first song is called Eyes of a Butterfly, and it's going to be the first song we're putting out under the record label for a really long time. So I kind of want all the projects, I know you asked about Asha De Andrea, but I'm kind of going with the record label, but all the projects.
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But to kind of be more like, I'm not going to say feminine, because I want to like sign, have guys and stuff, but really like the pretty, like empowering, influential, like just really makes you feel something. You know what I mean?
Like uplifting, really, melodic type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's how I kind of want my project to be too. Like I love like creating beauty with everything. So just like really beautiful songs that you really like feel and like really powerful. So yeah.
Yeah.
Very
No,
cool.
that's dope. Any time frame that you're thinking about releasing that, or as?
The first song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're we were actually supposed to do it on June 9th, but everything kind of, as it does in the music industry, it's kind of hard to exactly have a time. So we're just kind of at this point, like, wants to be in July, but we're thinking the end of July, but we want to get a music video for it. We want to, really spend time with marketing. I think that's really important that a lot of artists don't really realize is it's not just about like putting out the music. Like you have to, figure out the marketing plan, like really,
Mm-hmm.
do photo shoots for it. Like a lot of singers that are signed or artists that are signed, they strategically put out a single or a couple singles first, and then they create like an EP or an album. But they plan a whole thing around each one, and they have launch parties and everything because it's about quality over quantity, really, in my opinion. Like you can put out a bunch of songs, and that can work too. I'm not saying that can't work, but like if you really strategically put a bunch of all your energy into each one, and you like really love it like so much, wait till it's like ready to like blossom. Like I feel like that's the best approach. So I don't really like time frames per se, just
Yeah.
whenever it like really feels right. If it takes a couple more months to get it where it's amazing, and that we have the marketing plan and everything for it, the music video, and it's just like ready at that point,
Yep.
and then probably then. And also with my songs, they all have like special meanings to them about stuff that's going on. So it's kind of around that too, because so much is happening too, so I want it to come out at the right time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that's a good pro tip. One of the main reasons why we do this podcast is for other artists and industry professionals to kind of just bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
And I think you said a lot of good things in that statement right there. Is just because some people are so date driven, and then life can happen that can like kind of derail a lot of that stuff. And you have to be able to pivot and make changes on the fly. And marketing is everything. You know what I mean? Like some people do take the approach where I'm gonna release 5 songs a day for the next 5 months and something's gonna stick, right?
Yeah.
Or you release 5 songs in 5 years. That's a whole different way of going about it. But if you're in people's face in a polished way, I don't see how you can lose.
I agree.
I actually heard a thing. I'm not sure if you know Joyride or not. I heard that Joyride took like years to like perfect his sound. So when he actually came out with stuff, he just boom, blew up super quick. Just to really create that unique sound. So I definitely think that's a great idea, just to really focus on that plan and really have that vision. In regards to your label, though, what is the vision on that? And then a couple weeks back, we talked a little bit about like the structure of your label as well. And I thought it's super new compared to other labels out there. Could you talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, definitely. So with the label, it's actually 2 separate labels. Captain Civilian Record is a project-based label. And when I say project, that's what I was talking about earlier, is how like each artist is their own company. So it's their own project pretty much. So we have like about 22 different projects under it, but which is of them are artists, but we also have technology projects. One of them is like, I love animals, and so is the guy that I bought it from. So he had created this before, and it's like it puts out different sound waves for animals crossing the street, so it defers them, so they won't like actually cross the street to help with like roadkill or animals getting hit by. Yeah, so we have the prototype for that. That's pretty cool. And then the other, like we have a animal rescue. We're starting as a nonprofit, and then a bunch of festivals. But the other record label is, I think the one you're talking about, is one of the projects underneath it, and it's called Pro Music League, and it's the first ever royalty-free record label. So we don't take any royalties. We don't take any like percentage. We don't take rights. We don't take anything from the artist. They remain completely independent. But instead, like they end up just paying us like a yearly fee, which is really not, it's not that bad at all. And they get all the same stuff. Like we create them a website. We get them a manager. We book them for shows. They get to go on our festivals that we have. So we just pretty much like figure out the best way to get them where they can be making a living from their music within, a year, 2 years. Because right now it's so, I feel like you're either like a struggling artist pretty much, or you like made it and you have like millions of dollars. It's like, you know, hard to be like in between. It's such a big difference. So we're trying to like bring it where there's like a middle ground where like, you know, you can be making $100,000-$200,000 a year doing shows and selling merch, and you have your, you know, 1,000-10,000 raving fans who love their stuff and buy, you know, a bunch of your stuff, and you're making $100,000-$200,000 a year and you have a good living. It doesn't have to be, you know, you're either really struggling or like you really make it. And, yeah. And we also kind of want to be like a funnel. So we have a bunch of partnered with a bunch of other record labels. So they actually will like look for artists through Pro Music League, through all of our artists and stuff too. And then everyone in Pro Music League, it's like a big family. So they all help out with each other. Like rappers use our producers' beats and, you know, all that kind of stuff too. So it's just like a big network. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Awesome. That's super cool.
No, I love it. Yeah, so super cool business model. I think once you guys, you know, really step out and start releasing projects with that business model, I can see other labels kind of adapting that business model as well.
Yeah. It was actually already started to see some, and it's kind of cool because studios, we buy in bulk studio time. That's how it works, because everything's in bulk. So we just like put it all together and buy it in bulk. And a lot of studios have actually been starting to like go that way too, that we've like talked to, especially down here. There's like 4 or 5 that are starting to like actually change it to like membership based and like bulk, and it's pretty cool. It's like starting a whole like ripple effect, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm super happy for you, and that's exciting, and I think it's gonna really not open up the floodgates, but it allows talented artists that just need that shot.
Yeah,
it's giving them that shot. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah. And it's also helping because most independent artists do it 100% themselves. And they social media themselves, their merchandise themselves, their website themselves, they're trying to book shows themselves, and they don't even have time to really like focus on their art. And they're normally artists, like they're not that good with the business side. So now it's like have a whole team, working for them. So I think that's really important too. Go ahead.
And that's something that you guys provide as well, or?
The everything I was just talking about. Yeah, we provide everything I was just talking about. It's like pretty much like they're signed, but we don't take any of their rights or royalties or anything. Like we would never take, you know what I mean? All the money that they make is theirs, but they can still sign with another record label because we don't own any of their rights. So yeah.
It seems like you guys are taking it a step further too, because tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like most record labels, you know, only do the marketing side of things, but you're actually like booking shows, you're building websites. Like I'm not sure, do most record labels build websites and stuff?
I kind of just depends. Like every deal is different. A lot of records buy like an album of yours, and then majority they own the majority of that album. Like you hear a lot of, I know Taylor Swift talked a lot about that in her documentary that she came out with. Her record label won't release the rights to her first 2 albums that she made, so they're not even her album. Yeah, and she's like pretty mad about it, but I think they probably help with like websites, and I don't really know too much. I don't really think that that's their main purpose. It's more like they own a certain album or like singles or
they
stuff.
They have the following, and you know your sound goes well with them, and then they just kind of push that towards their following in a way. Yeah,
exactly. And then they tell you normally like what you have to do for the album, that their vision, and it kind of like, it's normally not like the artist's vision. You'll see that a lot. Like when artists get signed, like it changes a lot because they see you in a certain way and they're like, oh, this is what will sell. But that's not necessarily like the artist's vision. So that's another thing too. Like I feel like a lot of artists lose their creativity doing it that way.
So how do you see, because the way you're doing it, you're obviously going to have a little bit more of a mixture of styles and just different visions in general. How do you think that will be beneficial for your company as like a whole?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, so like, you know, we were talking about like how most record labels have, you know, like a specific vision, and like your song has to like fit them. But with you guys, like most artists don't really have that, they can go with their own vision. So like, how can that collective and different varied visions help benefit you guys?
Okay, yeah. So we work with all different types of artists. We have rappers, we have EDM producers, we have all that kind of thing. But our shows are very diverse as well. Like we're having a
Mm-hmm.
festival in October, hopefully this year, if everything works with the COVID, we're still planning on announcing. And it's maybe 80%, 70 to 80% EDM. The rest is mostly rap. We have some singers, some bands, you know what I mean? So they can still all come and like be part of it. And I feel like we normally attract kind of the same type of artists. Like they're all pretty calmer and like, you know what I mean? Like we don't sign everybody. It's not like open for everybody. Like it's an application process pretty much. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't, it's not aligned really with, because there is a vision still, and
Yeah.
it's definitely still geared towards like the positivity, like bringing positive influential content into the world. Like I don't really, we don't really like a lot, accept a lot of rappers who are all, about guns and money and just
So
like
it's more like vibe based, not like sound based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
exactly, totally, yeah, because like everyone gets along with everyone and talks in the Facebook group, and they all network with each other, and they all, it's like it's kind of the same thing. You were like, where can you network? Like they have a whole Facebook group of all the artists that talk to each other and stuff. So yeah, but we go through an application process, and if it's not working normally, and we're just not vibing together, like we have no issues if they want to go their own way and stuff. We normally don't have that happen too much because we really get to know the artist before bringing
Mm-hmm.
them in. Like we do a whole evaluation of everything with them. Like we go over all their social media, pretty much their vision, like what they want to do. So yeah, it normally works out pretty good. I feel like we've attracted like a really good group of people.
That's super
No,
cool.
that's good. And the thing is, knowing that and not accepting everyone, and knowing what you guys are good at and your strengths, it just helps you guys be a more well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be able to, you'll know how to market these people. You'll know what network you guys have that you guys can like tap these other artists into, because you know that we can get you on this radio station, or we can get you on this playlist or whatever. So yeah, it makes sense 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we also use kind of our connections with like the higher, like we have, we know some record labels, different rap record labels, different bigger EDM record labels and stuff. So like depending on the person, we kind of just guide them the way that kind of works for them.
Mm-hmm.
And we always sometimes suggest things,
Mm-hmm.
that we think would really help. But at the end of the day, they own all their rights. Like they if they don't want to take our suggestions, like they don't have to, like they can do their own thing. But we'll always like kind of see what we think will bring them to the next level. Which we all kind of intuitively know, and but if it might work there too, because music's such a, what's the word, objective. Like everyone
Subjective.
has
Yeah.
subjective thing. So what you think might really work actually doesn't end up working, and their thing like really works. So it's super subjective. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they always have the final say with everything. But yeah.
Yeah. That's dope. What you guys at? Anything?
Yeah. So in regards to just like writing lyrics, and this is more geared toward like your personal project. What do you do to like find inspiration?
So I think when going out in nature for sure. Like I love the ocean. I think going in the water, I'm like huge on energy. I think that energy is super important, and keeping your own aura like clean, and like I do salt bath meditations. I do meditate every single morning. I'm really like in tune with my intuition and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's just breaking the pattern. Like everybody kind of does the same thing every single day, especially if you have like a 9-to-5 job. Sometimes you really need to just break that pattern of energy and like go do something completely different. Like I go to the beach, or I go hang out with different people, or you know what I mean? Because you can get inspiration from pretty much anything, from other people, from animals. I love animals, like just really, and meditating for sure. Like we know everything, I feel like, inside ourselves already. It's not outside, it's inside. So really getting quiet your mind. And I don't know about the whole meditation, like, oh, if you can't have thoughts, like just quiet your mind. Like I normally do guided stuff, and normally geared towards what I'm trying to figure out or what I want to know. And in the morning, like there's all over YouTube, you can find them. And normally the answer will come from inside, pretty much, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. So you said you do like salt bath meditations. Is that like where you go in that like dome thing and it's like dark inside and you just float, or is that something else?
No, that's a float tank. I've done that too. Float tanks
Okay.
are They take away all your senses, so it's like super cool.
Yeah.
But no, salt, I just do like Epsom salt in a bath, and then I
Oh,
put
okay,
like a
chill.
message from YouTube. Yeah, and it kind of
Nice.
like you like really relax because you're in a really relaxed state, and then ask the questions or that you're trying to figure out and stuff. And normally like you'll just like feel it or like hear it even in your, depending on like if you're an auditory person or like what type of person, if you feel things more, if you hear things or you see things. Like some people actually like have visions of stuff or dreams too a lot. Like I always, when I wake up, I write down my dreams and I write down what they can mean, like what the meanings of it could be, like what are the synchronicities of it and how they all relate, and I read back in them, and I learned so much from like reading back in my dreams because that's all our subconscious mind coming out. So yeah.
Wow.
That's super cool.
But so let me kind of translate this over into music. So that's I like that, the meditation. So it's making me like vision a few things when you say that. So I have to ask you questions like, and these are weird questions kind of. So knowing this, do you like to go in studios that have windows or no windows?
I like no windows. I like it dark, but like with a little bit of light, like pink light or like blue light.
Okay. All right. And it's also making me think, do you like to work on music or record during the day or at night?
It definitely just depends on that. Either early in the morning when it's still like dark
Mm.
or at night. Yeah. But not
Okay.
like during the daytime. I always like to wake up really, really early in the morning and I try to take a nap around like 3 to 6. And then so I have my whole morning because I love mornings and I love nights. So that I have my whole morning and my whole night and I just like naps during the day.
You
So
say like 3 to 6, like 3 to 6 a.m.?
no, like 3 to 6
Yeah.
p.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll start get tired around like 1, 2, 3, and I take like a couple hour nap, and then I'm up for like the rest of the night until like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I go to bed until like 7 or 8. So.
Yeah. I was like, I always wonder like people's preference, like windows, no windows, daytime, night. So that's pretty cool. So why that color? Why the pink?
So pink is all about compassion and like love, and it's like a really like loving kind of energy and healing thing. So it just kind of brings me back into my heart because I feel like music's all about emotion. So when I'm trying to like sing it not from like emotion and not like feeling it, it just sounds a lot different and people can feel that. So I really want to like, I try to like get in my heart as much as I can and just my emotion and like how I'm feeling. That's why if I'm feeling really sad, like I don't try to make myself feel happy per se, but I'm like, I'm gonna work on some sad music, because people really feel the emotion of that. Or, if I'm feeling really happy, I do that. Or sassy, I'm like, let's do a sassy song. Like, yeah. So, yeah.
No, that's really cool. So is there any time that, okay, so is it a deal breaker if you go into the studio that doesn't have lighting like that, or?
Oh no, definitely not. It's not
Okay.
yeah, it's not, it's more about the engineer, I feel like. I've only been actually recording for the last year, pretty much 6 months to a year. So a lot of it, I have a really good engineer here in Miami, or a couple that like really helped me out with a lot of stuff because I never learned music. Like I don't know how to write music. I don't know any of that kind of stuff. And going in the studio, it's like its whole thing. Like you have to, double up your voice and do like ad libs and do like a melody. And I never really knew any of that. So it's all mostly about the engineer and just like taking direction. I think.
Mm.
Yeah. Shout out to those good recording engineers.
Hey.
Those are the behind the scene heroes for sure.
So true. Takes so many people to write a song. It's crazy. I never like knew that before, to just create a song and the amount of time that goes into a song. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So going back to you talking a little bit about like feeling and emotion, you were saying like, oh, I'm feeling sassy, so I want to feel like write a sassy song or something. What do you do when you're not feeling sassy and you have to go back to, this is just an example, like going back to that song where you were feeling sassy? How do you get back into that emotion to start writing again for that song?
Well, I think like being an artist a lot, like they're all kind of is like actually being an actress too, or an actor. If you're, you are writing a song that's more like, we'll say sassy, I think, kind of like hip hop, kind of like that. I'm not feeling it. Like I kind of go back to a time when I was, or I put on some more music like that and just like start acting like I am. And when you start acting like you are, like you normally do. And normally with sad songs, it's kind of, you like think back at a time when you were sad and I could like, start crying and stuff. But yeah, like it is about acting too. And yeah, that's normally what I do. It's kind of fun. make it fun, fun way.
Oh yeah. Kind of reminds me like I actually went to a Tony Robbins thing too back in the day, and like he's super about like, you feel it in your body, and when you're physically feeling it and doing things to make yourself feel a certain way, you will start to feel that. So like he's super into like, throwing your arms up in the air and like, yeah, yes. but yeah, so that's super cool. Let's see. So what do you do like if you ever like come up against creative blocks? Is there anything you do to get over those?
I think the biggest thing with me if I come like with a creative block is just to go change my energy, like go do something different, like go force myself to go for a run, go to the beach, go to the dog park, go hang out with other people, and not be thinking about music for a minute. Because like if it's a big creative block, like you just need a break from it normally, if you keep trying to like pressure yourself to do it and stuff, like it's just not really gonna work. Like so I just go and change what I'm doing, my energy, until I'm like inspired again to do it, and like I'm feeling it again, so yeah.
So switch things up a bit.
Yeah.
Don't stay in that pattern.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Don't force it for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really good, because we always ask people who come on our show, we ask like, what do they do with like writer's block or creative blocks, and some people fight through it, or they listen to different. And a good one is like listen to different genres of music.
Ooh, yes, definitely. Oh, that's a great one. Yeah. I would like write too. Like I kind of write and I'm like what's going on? Like, I love journaling and writing. So if I like write about it normally, like it kind of gets me through it too. Because normally I feel like when you're going through something like that, like it's just energy that kind of needs to be released out, or something that's going on. So being like, what's going on? Like write to myself and kind of see what comes up.
Super cool.
Yeah, that's hot. So this is a cool question that we always like to ask everyone that comes on the podcast. You ready for it?
Yes.
All right. Give us one fun fact about yourself that your family or friends or fans don't know about.
I love Progresso soup. I eat probably 2 of them every single day with Tabasco sauce.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like my go-to. It's like my comfort thing. I don't know why. I just love soup and like Progresso soup to me.
What's your favorite soup?
I normally, I like chicken noodle. I feel bad because I don't really eat meat. I love animals. So I normally don't eat the meat in it. I actually have like wanted to have a dream of like when I get big enough to be like, let's make a Progresso soup with no meat in it and start making it, or like an alternative.
I am so in on that, dude. Like let's do like a fake chicken type that'd be tight.
That would be great, right?
Yeah,
it'd be so good. Yeah, it would be, and especially like I love like the Beyond Burger. It tastes just like beef, and normally when someone tries it, it's plums. But normally when someone tries it, like I can't taste the difference, and that really like if you can't taste the difference, and it's actually good for you, like it actually helps a lot of people. Like I'm not like don't eat meat or anything, but like cut down on meat or something. Yeah, so it's pretty
I
cool.
like that idea.
So you're a super. That's like I love that answer. I love that answer because I didn't know if she was gonna go personal or more music related. That was excellent.
To be honest, you said Progresso, but I thought you said progressive, and I was waiting for house, like progressive house, and I'm like, okay. But then you said soup, and I'm like, oh, Progresso soup.
Yeah. No, only people who like are really close to me like know that, because it's kind of like my dirty like little pleasure. I'm like, I just want to go home and eat soup. Like, I don't know.
So when you go to the grocery store, how many cans are we talking about?
It depends. Like they have sales on them.
A whole cart.
Like $1. Yeah. So I like to always stock up. Yeah. And like a bunch of different flavors. Like I like try different ones, but yeah, it's the one thing that like makes me feel good about it again if I'm like feeling sad or whatever. It's just like everyone has their crutch, right? Like mine's super
right.
Hey, at least it's healthy, because like mine is cookies, man. I'm just like, I'll eat a whole thing of like, the whole cookies, all the cookies.
Yeah. You're a sweet tooth. Yeah. I like spicy food, like every kind of, and salt too. So salt.
You said you throw Tabasco sauce in there?
So much. I buy the big ones and it's by my bed all the time. And it just like, it just
Hey, whatever gets you going.
Yeah.
Whatever gets you going. No, that's cool. I like, that's probably one of the best answers we got so far.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. I like that one.
Yeah. Well, we got some pretty cool answers on that. So I have a question for you. So you only been recording for about a year.
Yes.
Roughly. What's some advice to people who are also getting into this that you might want to give someone who's also just starting out?
For someone who's just starting out, there's a few different advices. I think really take time to figure out what your actual vibe is, like what you're really liking. And in the studio, like learn a little bit beforehand, like what to do in the studio. Because the first couple times I went in the studio, the engineer didn't really tell me what to do, too much. And I mean, they're not supposed to, but I didn't really know. And I felt like I just felt terrible leaving it, because I know like I'm a good singer and stuff, but the way you do it's a certain way. Like you sing the bass first, and then you go put melodies in it and you do like a bunch of different things. So maybe just really talking to somebody who's done it before and like asking like their opinion, getting good advice before going in, because normally they're paying, you're paying $56 an hour to go into the studio. You don't want to just like, feel bad going out of it. Like be really prepared going into it. And yeah, like definitely just have fun in the studio. Like I feel like the more fun you're having, like the better it sounds too. And
That's true.
classic thing, but actually, yeah. But yeah, like really good advice going before you go in, because I've definitely had a few studio sessions in the beginning where I like left like in tears. I was like, it's terrible, I can't sing, like blah blah blah. I didn't know the techniques. So like really learn the techniques, because like I'm sure that you're amazing, but in the studio it's just like it's something you need to like to learn to do. So yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's good advice.
Yeah, and also this is not with the studio related, but it's not just about the music either. It's kind of like I was saying, you're a business. So focus on your brand and like what you want people to feel when they like think about you, and your favorite things, and like go do a lot of your like 3 favorite things, and focus on the business part too. Like I set aside certain days. So especially with the record label, we have to do like a day for each project. But if you're just you just have your own project, set aside like 2 days a week to just focus on the business part, like growing your social media, like engaging with fans, or if they're not fans yet, still talking to people, like networking, like going on LinkedIn, going and getting content, like creating content, like really, focusing on the business side, like figuring out a good marketing plan, because it is a bunch to do with marketing, especially if you want to make this your career. So yeah.
That's great advice for balancing, the business side of things and your art side of things, is just, setting those 2 days and, don't focus on the music. Like make sure you're putting on your different hats, because it's super hard to, put on the different hats. But if you intentionally do it, it makes it so much easier.
Exactly. And also another thing I learned in Tony Robbins, like people are there's like 3 different types of people really. You're either like an artist, which is what most artists are, and you're really just about your work and about your art that you're creating. A manager, you just like love managing, that's like a lot of like CEOs and managers. Or an entrepreneur, which we all know entrepreneurs, somebody who's just like really risk taking, like can spend a bunch of money, and they're fine with losing a bunch of money and stuff. But normally being an artist, like you're an artist. So another really big advice is find someone who's a manager. Like you can tell if they're a manager, that's what they like to do. And they don't necessarily need to be your manager, but like have them in your circle, like, you know what I mean? Have them help out with stuff. It will end up being mutually beneficial, and it's super helpful. It's super helpful not to have it all on your plate too. So
what would you advise for people that are like just starting out? Like if they don't have like access to a manager right away, what's another option that they could take?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a manager, but just like a friend, you know what I mean? Like somebody who's like that, like, and start networking with more people. Like there's so many people, and you can find different groups on Facebook. You can find pretty much anybody looking for the same thing that you're needing. If you just really network, like set aside a day, or even just like a couple hours. I would say like an hour 3 times a week, you know what I mean? Like 3 hours, but even if it's an hour a week or whatever, to really start networking and like growing that circle. Because yeah, you can definitely do it all yourself, and you can wear all those different hats, and that's if you can't, like have one of those days that you're just managing yourself and you actually think of yourself like that. Like if I was my own manager, what would I be thinking about? You know, it's kind of going back to acting, like what from the business side would I be thinking about if I was my own manager, and then just really do that.
Awesome.
Classic. I like it. I like it. I mean, it seems so easy or even common sense, but it's so many people overlook that or they overthink it.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think more now than ever, people have to, you have to balance your craft and your business. But I think artists are starting to realize like talent is only going to take you but so far.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can be amazing and just not know how to get yourself in front of people, you know, and or be able to grow your social media. And like I've seen some artists that are so, that's normally what I look for in like artists that have, you know, not the best following, but they're like amazing music because they don't know how to grow their social media, like their fan base, like, you know, market themselves and do that. And then like try to talk to them and figure out a way that we can work together, you know, to get them a manager and to get them all those different kind of things. Because if they really want to bridge that gap from just creating amazing music to actually being a top artist or even, you know, making a living off of it, like a good living off of it, you have to kind of figure out, you know, how to market yourself, like how to do those steps in between.
That's super awesome for you guys to do that, because I know most labels actually require you to have like a following already almost and like have everything running already, which is cool for sure. But like there are people out there that I'm like, damn, like this music is so good. Like they just need this one thing. And you guys are totally bringing that to them. So that's super cool.
Yeah. And it's just about figuring out kind of what those things are. And it's also cool because we have like a highlight where we highlight an artist a week usually, and we have all the other artists just like love all their stuff and add them on Facebook and, you know what I mean, like their fan page and like, you know, follow them on Instagram and like all their stuff. And that momentum normally, like, you know, we've had artists that start with like 100 likes on Facebook and then, you know, within a couple months get up to like 1,000, 2,000 just because of that momentum and like everyone like other stuff. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
That's super cool. So what we talked about, like advice for, you know, just like anyone who wants to get in the music industry, but what would be a good piece of advice for someone that wants to join a record label? Like what's a one piece of advice that, you know, you would think would be good for them?
I mean, I think a really good advice is, like I said, create quality stuff, have your few things quality, and then you got to just really create your own opportunities. So like talk to all the record labels, like figure out the best way with each individual one, like do your research behind it when you have really good stuff, and then figure out the right people to talk to. And like it's like before, like you don't talk to them, be like, listen to my stuff, like please, like blah blah blah, like figure out what they need first, like create a friendship almost with them, and it'll just happen naturally, pretty much. I think that's the best way.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that was spot on. Asha, you're crushing it. You're killing it.
But yeah, thank you. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
No, it's yeah, because even us here at eMix, we're partnering up with other companies and this and that and the third, and it's almost fun to be able to see how we can help other companies. You know what I'm saying? Like they have holes in their company that they're trying to fill, and we can help them do that. So it's really cool, like being able to help other people. And I think a lot of people need to just think that way when they go into networking and getting into new relationships. So,
and it feels so much more fulfilling within yourself too. Like you don't feel like, you know, just like a spammer, just being like, hey, check this out. Like once the process is fulfilled, you get so much more out of it.
Yeah, agreed completely. Like life is about giving. Like Tony Robbins says that all the time. Like the life is giving, and you start to realize that more and more. Like when you're giving and like when you're helping people and stuff, like it comes back tenfold. And you don't, you know what I mean? You're not even trying. Like you're feeling really good about it. But when you're like in the opposite, kind of all about me, and like in that scarcity, like lack mentality, like it's hard for anything to really come to you because you're really closed off too. So yeah, definitely.
So I got another question for you. If you could work with any artist, dead or alive, who would that artist be?
It would probably be Avril Lavigne. I've always I really, really liked her. Growing up, I still really like her. She doesn't put out a lot of stuff now, but she's been through a lot, of like mental stuff and just changing a lot. And she seems, yeah, it would probably be her or Daughtry. I love Daughtry. He was the other one all the
Yeah.
time growing up. Yeah, his music just like moves me. It's like so powerful. I
Mhm.
feel like his videos are amazing. If you watch some of his videos, it's all like it's just really, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be one of those two, I'd say.
Awesome.
No, that's good. Were they some of your like inspirations growing up, or like people
Yeah,
you looked up to?
definitely. I think definitely like they're a lot more of my inspirations because like I just love their music. Like it actually moved me. Like I really felt it. Like it wasn't particularly what I wanted to become so much,
Hmm. Hmm.
or do, but their music, it like moved me more. And yeah, so
Hmm.
definitely I like the way that it made me feel because it's all about how you feel, right? Like we just music.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's the well. If you were to collab with them, what kind of song would it be?
um, it would pretty much be the same kind that they do, I'd say.
Okay.
Like I would kind of want to do it with them and just like be a part of it. Like do, a duet with Dante would be amazing and his type of music. I grew up singing all of his songs. So like it would be pretty easy for me to just, add a girl part to it. It'd be really cool and like video too. And same with Avril Lavigne. Like I love the way she writes her songs, especially her like calmer music that doesn't get as
Hmm.
much hype. Like it's so pretty. Like her slow, like keep holding on, like that one, it's so pretty. Like yeah, so
Yeah, and that's Zach's favorite artist too. No,
I
I'm
really
just
It is.
like really.
That's my number one secret. Now everyone knows. Thanks for telling them.
Oh, that's so
uh,
but if,
you
if
guys
it's
are
not the EDM, it would be Millennium because
Oh yeah.
sad sad boy central. I definitely want to do a collab. I'm gonna do a collab with Millennium eventually for sure.
Millennium Said the Sky mix. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh,
Mm.
he in Denver. He had said this guy in the drums at his performance. It was amazing. This last year before everything went down. Yeah, it was crazy. It was like the best performance. He had his live singers singing there too. Like he had a whole band. Like
Oh wow.
yeah, he goes full out. It
That's
was
at
great.
Red Rocks.
Yeah, he did it like
Oh
3
man.
days. The first one was canceled because of snow, and
Oh.
everyone thought the last day was
Wow.
gonna be. Yeah, it was crazy snow, and then everyone thought the last day was gonna be the best because it was like a throwback. But like Friday night, he went full out. He had his live singer there singing all the songs. Like said, this guy was on the drums, had a whole band, like fire. It was crazy. I was at the front. I was like crying the whole time. Like
That's amazing.
Hey, if you weren't in the music industry, what else could you see yourself doing?
So definitely something with animals, I'd say. I'm definitely an animal person over a people person. I like people, but I love animals. And I thought it would be vet and maybe still a horse vet. If not something to do with horses, I would
Because you
love to.
used to ride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been my other thing I was gonna tell people, but a lot of people know that. I'm kind
Oh,
of a
now
crazy
we got two things: soup and horses.
Soup and horses
Yeah.
on the beach. Soup and horses on the beach.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Sounds like the perfect wedding, right? I don't want to get married, but I want like a cool wedding on the beach with horses and soup and yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
for your food, there's no like salads or anything. It's just soup.
It's just soup. Well, there can be
Yeah.
salads too. Salads are awesome, but
All right. All right.
and alcohol. We'll have some nice cool drinks and maybe like a bud bar too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually one more technical question. If this even applies for you, you might not even care. Do you have a favorite microphone that you use for your vocals?
I don't, honestly.
Okay.
I don't know much about them. Yeah, my manager mostly handles all that or the studios and stuff. So that's yeah. I'm not sure about that one, unfortunately.
Okay. No,
All
you're
good.
good. And then the other one, do you have a favorite program that you use, or it doesn't matter? Like Pro Tools or Logic or something like that.
Ableton.
Oh,
Ableton
okay.
gang. Let's go.
Hey, let's go. That's like once again, that's Zach's favorite. You guys
Yeah.
are like 2 for 2 right now.
We're like twins.
Yes.
So you record in Ableton, or is that like the most of the where you like do the production and stuff, or?
Yeah, just with the production pretty much, and then
Okay.
record. I want to start doing it where I'm actually recording through it and like looping stuff and like just doing. You could do so much crazy stuff. Like he was saying with like the buttons, and you have like a foot. I don't know what it's called. It's like a foot loop. It's like
a pedal.
Yeah, pedal that you use with your vocals, so you're like able to record it. And eventually, like when I get like a nice home studio set up and stuff, we're moving and then we're gonna set it up hopefully in this next move. I want to like really get good at like practicing that and like recording my vocals with it and like cool noises too, you know, like in songs you're like or something and like and like make it sound like crazy. Like I think that would just be so fun. I'd probably get addicted to just sit in it all the time and never go up.
Definitely adds another level of creativity for sure.
Oh yeah, because you can work a lot faster that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It helps with your workflow.
And it works well with Ableton too, because in you have, you know, session view, and in session view, that's where it's loop based anyway. So it's super easy to just plug and play, I'm sure, with that.
Definitely. And create like voice loops and stuff. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
So one last question for me. You definitely gave some advice in regards to how, or just how like you're changing the music industry in general, but what's one big thing that you would like to see change in the music industry as a whole? Maybe something you don't like it so much?
I think no, actually, the influence, I guess. I'm really big on influence and like, what are we influencing right now with the music industry? Like rap, it's all about shooting, guns and sex and money. And it's kind of changing a little bit, but you know, that's what, you know, to get into rap, like a lot of these gangster rappers aren't even like that much gangster, but they think that that's what they have to like do to get like that. And then we're influencing kids with that. And same with like a lot of the pop singers and stuff, like, you know, it's like really like sexualizing women and there's a bunch of negative stuff, even like, you know, some of the newer ones, like there's a bunch of kind of like devil stuff. And, you know, I don't, you know, take too much of a stance on that. I know people need to get their anger out some ways and stuff, and that's how they do. But just really like what's important in life, like really important in life. Like it's not about like war and guns and killing and this, like how is that important in life? Like we're trying to come together as like, you know what I mean, the whole world and really like bring about like peace. And it doesn't have to be sappy or like, you know what I mean, like, oh, peace and love, but definitely like some more just like love each other, like have compassion towards people, like, you know what I mean, like unity, a lot of that. And just like really for kids, because when kids are growing up and they're in the stages, that's when they create their beliefs about things and they figure out, you know, what they're influenced by and like a bunch of stuff. And it's so much by singers and so much by these, you know, famous musicians. And if we can influence them more positively, like it would completely shift, I think, how the world would be and like the consciousness level of people too. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, the power of music is so influential in so many different ways, good and bad, right? Yeah. So positivity is so important right now. All the music should be like you said, not corny or sappy or anything like that. It can still be fun, right? But just a more positive message.
Exactly. Like rappers can rap about like, you know, being like a CEO of their own company and like, you know, creating good things and like all that kind of stuff, and it can still be awesome. Like, and that is awesome. That's a whole level up, I think, too.
I agree.
Like creating big change and like, you know, my songs that are coming out they're about that. They're kind of cool because it's like kind of about what's going on in the world and stuff. And they're not even necessarily positive. Like it's kind of, you know, like it's not negative, but it's not positive, but it's just about real stuff that's like going on, you know, like we need to now like really more than ever like step into our true potential each individually and figure out like what we want to do as individuals to help bring the world to a better place, because there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So yeah, so that's what I think, you know.
Great answer. I like it. Yeah, and that's why we need more of you in the world, because you will shower us with positive vibes and music.
Yes. Positive energy, positive vibes. There's only love. Love is everything.
Love it. Do you have anything more, DC?
Give us your IG, your social media. Like, where can we like and follow and subscribe?
So Asha Erica, ASHAERICA. That's my middle name, Erica. That's my Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat.
Cool.
And then Facebook, it's just Asha De Andrea is my fan page, or my business page. I like to say business page, business. And then Asha Gaskill is my real name. If you want to go actually see what I post on like a normal thing on Facebook. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
And then what's your social for your label and everything?
It's Papillon Pavilion Records. So it's a mouthful, but it's like Papillon, butterfly is what it means in French, and then Pavilion Records and Entertainment. So that's the same on Facebook. On Instagram, it's Butterfly Music House.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's kind of the other name for it. It's like I said, it's kind of feminine and pretty. But yeah, Butterfly Music House, that's on Instagram. But if you're actually interested in Pro Music League, which is the royalty-free record label, and you want to actually, hit like talk to any of us or my team about that, because you're actually interested in that, that's Pro Music League. So PRO Music and then League, like all one word, records. So that's the same on Instagram and Facebook. So, if you want to send us a message or whatever, if you're an independent artist, like we'd love to talk to you, and yeah, just start a conversation.
Awesome.
See, artists, you heard it first right here.
No excuses now.
No excuses, right? So, look, Asha, we greatly appreciate you coming on the show. It's always a pleasure. Hopefully you can come back again soon, right?
Definitely. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, wait. It's almost nap time.
It is. It's about nap time. It's a scoop and nap, not gonna lie. That's probably what I'm gonna do.
But soup first and then nap.
First and then nap, yeah. And I like to listen to like a hypnosis or like a meditation, like, like you're creating abundance in your life, and yeah.
There it is. There it is.
So it's good.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. And Zach, are we gonna go into the intro of the song?
Sure, let's
Maybe,
do it.
maybe not.
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
All right. Have a good day, y'all.
Thanks.
Peace.
All right. Peace.
From the moon.